If you've watched Leading Leaders podcast for any period of time, you've probably heard me talk about the value of a gauntlet. You might have even heard me talk about the very first time that I was encountered with a mentor's gauntlet. But don't underestimate the power of it if you're a mentor or a coach, and don't underestimate the power of it if you're a mentee.
Welcome to Leading Leaders Podcast, 5-minute videos, 5 days a week.
I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and the very first time I experienced the coach's gauntlet or the mentor's gauntlet, I had absolutely no idea what it was. I didn't know that a coach needed a gauntlet. In fact, I've used that phrase many times and people think gauntlet. Well, what is a gauntlet? And some of them Google it, and then they stop at the first definition. And the first definition of a gauntlet that you find when you look up that word is part of a soldier's armor, mainly an ancient warrior. It would be like a glove, the part of the glove that actually comes up over the hand and protects the wrist. So if you stop at the first search of what is a gauntlet, then you might think, why does a coach have a glove? Why does a mentor need a glove? And it has absolutely nothing to do with that. However, there is a phrase, come back from medieval times, where someone would say, I'm going to throw down the gauntlet. Well, the gauntlet would be like the line in the sand. It would be like the ultimate challenge. Now, if you've ever played football, or you've been a soldier, or you've been in some kind of combat sports, you may have had to run the gauntlet. Meaning, in football, for an example, they'll put guys in pads who are usually defensive linemen who love to tackle running backs in two lines of people with a little bit of a gap between them. And then they will hand the football to the running back and say, run the gauntlet. And his job is to get from one end to the other with all of these people giving him a shoulder check, trying to stop him or knock him off his feet. His job is to be able to power through to the other side. That gauntlet can hurt you. A gauntlet in the military may be a very similar thing. If you're being initiated into a gang, it may be a gauntlet of fists or knives or bottles or worse. Coming into prison, there's a whole different kind of a gauntlet entry. Are you beginning to get the picture of what a gauntlet is? Now, most coaches and mentors don't set up anything near that significant. My first gauntlet sounded like this. I approached a guy and I said to him, I would love for you to mentor me or coach me. I want to do what you do. And his reply to me was, what I want you to do is go home and write a 5-page handwritten letter explaining to me why I should waste my time with you. That was his gauntlet. Didn't cost me a thing. I didn't pay a thing for that. But you know what I did? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I thought to myself, I could just as easily send him an email. And I think I did send him an email. I even connected with him on social media platforms, and I've even sent him messages there. He's never once replied. It's as if I don't exist. I bought his programs that day. I even won some stuff in that event that night, but never had another contact with him. He has never responded to a single thing that I've said or done to communicate with him. He asked for a 5-page handwritten in the day of technology. Why would I bother with that? How silly is that? Well, fast forward 10 years, and I'm in the position that he's in a lot of ways. Still haven't reached the stature that he has, but the reality of the number of people who come and say, teach me to do what you do. I want your training. I want your teaching. I want to read from your books. I want to read everything you put on social media and quote it and copy it and call it my own, but I don't really want to pay for the coaching process. I don't really want to surrender myself to that. And so as a result of that, and having been in this industry and around these people for the last decade, I realized the value of a gauntlet. And sometimes it's a really silly instruction. It's the kind of thing you put out there just to see, does this person really believe that the advice that I'm going to give them is of any value? Monetary value, emotional value, psychological value, business value. If what I'm going to say to them carries no weight with them, if what I'm going to say to them, the advice that I'm going to give to them is going to make no impact in their life, why would I invest my time to learn that information? Why would I invest my time to understand that process? Why would I bother to pour into them if everything that I've accumulated in the way of knowledge and wisdom and understanding and education is not going to benefit their life? Why would I do that? Why would I do that if I'm going to give them the instruction and they're going to do nothing with it? If I'm going to give them the advice and they're not going to follow it, why would I invest that? Why would they invest money in me if the advice that I'm going to give them isn't going to benefit their life? Well, how are they going to know that if they do nothing with it? See, at that point, a mentor or a coach becomes very much like that gym membership that you bought at the first of the year, with that commitment inside your head to go to the gym 5 days a week, to work out for 2 or 3 hours every single day. And after the third day, you realize my schedule doesn't allow this much time in the gym. I'll make it 30 minutes. And after the third week, you realize 30 minutes in the gym is about as much time as I spend in traffic. And I'm sick of not being at home, getting done what I need to get done at home. So I'm going to skip it for a couple of days. And then 3 weeks in, you realize I'm still paying for a gym membership for month number 2 or month number 6, or here I am on a 1-year contract I can't get out of, but the gym doesn't care if you come or not. They're going to bill you anyway. See, there's a lot of similarity to the idea that you need help to accomplish what you want to accomplish. If you could do this on your own, there would be no coaching industry at all. If you could do this entirely on your own, mentors would be completely out of business. But the reality is, unless you're some kind of superhuman, super genius, there are things that you don't know. And there are some people who know the things that you don't know. I don't do my own heart surgery. I don't do my own brain surgery. I don't even do my own electrical repairs. There are specialists for all of those things. And I pay them to do it. In the world of building your business and changing your life and changing your relationships, sometimes it's nice to have someone who spent their time focused on how the mind works and how life works outside of the things that you do daily, just to give you a little better understanding of what's possible, what could be done, what could I consider as an alternative to what I've been doing, how might I try this if I wasn't going to do it the same way I've always done it, getting the same results that I've always gotten. 2 things you need to know about your coach or your mentor. When you bring this person into your life, wherever it is that you find them, and whatever relationship that they come to you, coach, mentor, consultant, whatever label you want to put on it, even a therapist or a pastor, if they give you advice, take the advice and understand, sometimes that advice will be so silly, you'll think to yourself, what in the world is that going to accomplish? And the test really has nothing to do with whether or not the advice they give you is going to have great effect. It has everything to do with whether or not you are teachable. Because if you're not teachable, no matter what they say to you, there's not going to be a positive result. The second thing you should know is, unless you're talking about a pastor or a free service somewhere, chances are if you've invested in your coach, your mentor, your consultant, in the way that you might have into a gym membership, and you do nothing with it, the effectiveness of a coach whose advice you don't follow is equivalent to the effectiveness of a gym that you never visit. If you don't take the advice of your coach, don't expect to get the results. You didn't pay your coach for results. You paid your coach for direction. And if you're not going to follow those directions, those weights are not going to lift themselves. Nobody can do your push-ups for you. You will not burn calories sitting at home watching somebody else at the gym online. You're going to have to put some skin in the game and do something with it. And the advice that you're going to get from your coach or your mentor, the time that they've invested in research and study and practice, and most of them mentoring on their own, being mentored and coached by somebody else. I've invested tens of thousands of dollars in knowing what I know and understand what I know, and I still invest every year. I have a budget set aside for that purpose. Every year, I spend more money to build what I know, to build what I understand. If you're not willing to invest in that, both on the financial side and the commitment side, then save your money from the initial investment, because you're not going to get it back. No more than the gym's going to refund your money for not going. A coach is not going to refund your money for not taking the advice that you were given. That's my advice for today. Now, if you're getting advice from a coach, or if you're going to the gym and you're not getting results, those are different things. If you've paid a coach and the advice they're giving you isn't working, even though you're taking it, that's a whole different thing. But that's another lesson for another day. Send me a private message. We'll have that conversation. I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. Notice that some of the most fascinating conversations you'll ever have. In fact, some of the most fascinating things that you'll learn are from unexpected conversations. Interviews that people have had in various environments have sometimes triggered a conversation offline that really opens up some new ideas. I'm sending out this invitation. Anybody who watches Leading Leaders Podcast, who either is or knows someone who is a leader in their own right, who's making an impact and adding value to people, I would love to have an opportunity just to chat with you about the possibility. Now, in the comments below this post, there will also be a link to go to the application for anyone who is in leadership to just kind of fill that out. Let's talk about why you feel like what you have to say would be of great benefit to this audience and to growing this audience, to growing influence for you and for Leading Leaders Podcast. So if that's something you're interested in, go to the comments, click on the link, and we would love to have a conversation with you. I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.